Hey, Stoic warriors, welcome back. Someone just destroyed you with 3 words, didn't they? Maybe it was, "You've changed," or "I'm disappointed," or simply, "Never mind." Those tiny syllables are currently eating through your mind like acid through metal. You're rehearsing comebacks you'll never deliver, building arguments for courts that will never convene, fighting ghosts who've already forgotten the war they started in your head. Your emotional skin has been flayed so raw that even compliments sting. You interpret silence as rejection, laughter as mockery, and neutral faces as judgment. You've developed supernatural powers, the ability to detect criticism in a smile, abandonment in a busy signal, hatred in a delayed text response. Congratulations, you've become a pain psychic, finding agony in absolutely everything. Marcus Aurelius commanded armies while plague ravaged his empire, yet scribbled in his journal, "Confine yourself to the present." Not because he was naturally stoic. His private writings reveal a man wrestling demons, fighting despair, forcing himself to remember that suffering is a choice disguised as a circumstance. You're bleeding from invisible wounds right now, hemorrhaging confidence through holes punched by people who probably forgot your name. You carry their rejections like trophies of your inadequacy, displaying them proudly in the museum of your misery. Every morning, you wake up and immediately check if those old wounds still hurt. Spoiler alert, they always do, because you keep picking at the scabs. Some people collect stamps, others collect coins. You collect proof that you're not enough. Every weird look, every unreturned message, every moment of being excluded, you file them away as evidence in the case you're building against yourself. The prosecution never rests in the courtroom of your mind, and you're simultaneously the defendant, the prosecutor, and the harshest judge who ever lived. The 5 principles you're about to absorb aren't philosophy. They're psychological warfare tactics against your own weakness. They're going to show you why your sensitivity isn't just hurting you, it's actually a form of narcissism. Yes, you heard that right. Your pain addiction is ego in disguise, and we're about to expose it, dissect it, and eliminate it. These ancient strategies transformed slaves into sages, victims into victors, and broken men into unbreakable forces. They're not comfortable, they're not kind, they're brutal, precisely because comfort is what got you into this mess. Your comfort zone is actually a prison cell, and you've decorated it so nicely that you've forgotten you're an inmate. Today marks your last day as an emotional refugee, constantly fleeing from one feeling to another, seeking shelter in validation that never comes. After these 5 principles, you'll walk through emotional hurricanes like they're gentle breezes. People's opinions will bounce off you like rain off marble. You'll become so psychologically bulletproof that you'll forget you ever bled. Hit like if you're sick of being everyone's emotional punching bag. Subscribe because this transformation requires daily training. Share this with someone who feels everything too deeply. And don't skip anything. Each principle is designed to destroy a specific weakness you don't even know you have. Now, let's get into it. Number 1. The permission paradox. You're addicted to your own destruction. You magnificent masochist. You've been signing permission slips for your own torture, haven't you? Every morning you hand out backstage passes to your psyche, letting random people, the cashier who seemed annoyed, the friend who didn't text back, the stranger who didn't hold the door, all of them get VIP access to your emotional control panel. You're not just allowing your destruction, you're orchestrating it with the precision of a maestro conducting a symphony of suffering. Epictetus dropped this bomb. No one can hurt you without your permission. A slave teaching free men about freedom, The cosmic irony is delicious. He understood something you're pretending not to know. You're addicted to the chemical cocktail that pain produces in your brain. Cortisol, adrenaline, that twisted buzz of righteous victimhood. You're a junkie, and emotional pain is your drug of choice. Watch yourself next time someone hurts you. There's a moment, fraction of a second, where you choose. You either let their words pass through you like wind through leaves, or you grab them, swallow them, digest them, let them become part of your cellular structure. You're not getting hurt. You're choosing hurt like it's an item on a menu. Yes, I'll have the devastating criticism with a side of spiraling anxiety, and for dessert, 3 hours of imaginary arguments. You've created elaborate rituals around your suffering. You have favorite songs that make you cry. You have specific memories you return to when you want to feel worthless. You've built shrines to your pain, and you visit them religiously, lighting candles of regret, burning incense of what if. You're not just experiencing suffering, you're curating it like an art collection. The permission paradox reveals this devastating truth. You need their criticism because without it, you'd have to face who you really are without the excuse of being damaged. You've built your entire identity around being hurt, being sensitive, being the walking wounded. Take away the wounds, and who are you? This terrifies you more than any external judgment ever could. Every trigger is actually you pulling the trigger on yourself. That person who made you feel worthless. They handed you an unloaded gun, and you loaded it, aimed it at your own head, and pulled the trigger while blaming them for the ammunition. You're committing emotional suicide repeatedly and calling it murder. Starting now, you revoke all permissions. When someone criticizes you, you treat their words like a foreign language you don't speak. When rejection comes, you observe it like a scientist observing bacteria under a microscope. Interesting, but not personally relevant. You stop translating everything through the lens of your worthlessness. You become emotionally sovereign, a nation of one that requires no foreign validation for its existence. The ancient Stoics called this the discipline of desire, not suppressing feelings, but choosing which ones deserve residency in your mind. You become the strictest immigration officer at the border of your consciousness. Most emotions get deported immediately. Only the useful ones get citizenship. From this second forward, you recognize every emotional reaction as a permission slip you're signing. Every spiral into despair is you choosing despair. Every anxiety attack is you attacking yourself and blaming the world for holding the weapon. You're not a victim of your sensitivity. You're its author, publisher, and most devoted reader. You want to be unbreakable? Stop breaking yourself. Stop handing out hammers to everyone you meet and showing them exactly where to strike. Stop giving guided tours of your vulnerabilities. Become someone who requires no one's permission to exist powerfully. Number 2, the voltage principle. Your reactions are everyone's remote control. Every time you react, you hand someone the remote control to your life. They push a button, criticism, rejection, disapproval, and you perform exactly as programmed. You dance, you rage, you crumble, you spiral. You've become humanity's most reliable entertainment system, always ready to display whatever emotional channel they select. Your buttons aren't just visible, they're labeled with detailed instructions on exactly how to destroy you. Seneca wrote while facing his own death sentence, "The willing, destiny guides them. The unwilling, destiny drags." He recognized that reaction is slavery dressed up as self-expression. You believe you're showing strength when you defend yourself, but you're actually advertising your weakness in neon lights. Every defensive word confirms their power. Every explanation validates their authority. Every emotional response is you bowing to a master you didn't even know you'd chosen. You're living life as a chemical reaction, predictable, automatic, instant. Someone adds insult to your environment, and you fizz, bubble, explode on cue. You've become so reactive that people can set their watches by your emotional outbursts. They know exactly which words will make you combust, which tones will make you crumble, which looks will send you spiraling for days. You're not a person anymore. You're a formula that always produces the same result. The voltage principle exposes the electrical current running through every interaction. When you react, you complete the circuit. Their negativity needs your reaction to exist. Without your response, their criticism is just sound waves dissipating into nothing. Their rejection is meaningless data floating in space. You're not just participating in your own electrocution, you're the power source that makes it possible. Consider the profound stupidity of what you're doing. Someone insults you and you spend days proving them wrong in your head. You're literally donating hours of your existence to someone who forgot you within seconds. You're writing novels in response to people who barely wrote you a sentence. You're composing symphonies of suffering for audiences that already left the theater. You've turned reaction into a religion. You worship at the altar of immediate response, believing that not reacting means accepting defeat. But reaction is defeat. It's you admitting that external forces control your internal state. It's you confessing that you're a puppet, desperate for someone to pull your strings, just so you can feel alive. The masters of antiquity discovered something revolutionary: the power of the pause. That space between stimulus and response where choice lives. Right now, that space doesn't exist for you. Someone pushes, you fall. Someone pulls, you follow. You've eliminated the gap where your power resides. You've become instantaneous in your weakness. Starting this moment, you implement the 24-hour rule. Nothing gets your reaction for 24 hours. Someone insults you. You note it like a weather report and move on. Someone rejects you. You file it under irrelevant data and continue. 24 hours later, if it still matters, spoiler, it never does, then you can choose whether to respond. But that waiting period breaks the circuit. It cuts the wire between their action and your reaction. You're going to become the person who doesn't flinch, the one who hears criticism and responds with silence so profound it makes the critic question their own existence, the one who treats emotional triggers like a child showing you their crayon drawing. You acknowledge it without letting it alter your universe. You're no longer electric, you're stone. Magnificent, immovable stone that has existed for millennia and will exist for millennia more, completely unbothered by the temporary noise of human opinion. Number 3. The archaeological method. Dig up your buried power. Beneath your fragility lies something terrifying, your actual power. You've buried it under years of people-pleasing, centuries of seeking approval, millennia of apologizing for your existence. You've become an archaeological site where your true strength lies, fossilized beneath layers of learned helplessness. Every emotional wound has added another layer of sediment, pushing your power deeper underground until you forgot it ever existed. Marcus Aurelius, while watching thousands die from plague, wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." He understood that obstacles aren't barriers, they're excavation tools. Every painful experience that you've been running from is actually a shovel you could be using to dig up your buried strength. but you've been so busy bleeding that you never noticed you were holding the tools for your own resurrection. You've confused softness with sophistication. You wear your wounds like designer clothing, thinking sensitivity makes you deep. But you're not deep, you're just unexcavated. There's a difference between choosing gentleness from a position of strength and being gentle because you're too weak to be anything else. Right now, you're the latter, and that's why gentleness feels like death. The archaeological method demands you start digging through your defensive layers with brutal honesty. That anxiety you feel? It's not fear, it's your buried power trying to claw its way out. That rage you suppress. It's your strength rotting underground, fermenting into poison because you won't let it breathe. That overwhelming sensitivity, it's your intensity desperately seeking proper expression. You've become a grave robber in reverse. Instead of stealing from the dead, you're stealing from yourself while you're still alive. You've plundered your own strength and replaced it with socially acceptable weakness. You've traded your roar for a whisper, your fire for a flicker, your mountain for a molehill, and you did it voluntarily, thinking it would make you lovable. Spoiler alert, it just made you forgettable. Every time someone triggers you, they're actually doing you a favor. They're pointing directly at where your power is buried. That specific criticism that destroys you. That's the exact spot where your strength is fossilized. That particular rejection that devastates you. That's the archaeological site where your independence is buried. You've been treating these triggers as wounds when they're actually treasure maps. Ancient philosophers understood something we've forgotten. Your greatest weakness and your greatest strength are the same thing viewed from different angles. Your sensitivity isn't the problem, it's misdirected power. Your emotional intensity isn't a curse, it's untrained strength. Your ability to feel deeply isn't a liability, it's a superpower you've been using backwards. The excavation starts now. Every emotional reaction becomes a digging opportunity. When you feel triggered instead of spiraling, you ask, what power is buried here? When criticism stings, you investigate, what strength am I afraid to claim? When rejection hurts, you explore, what part of me needs no one's permission to exist? You're going to discover something terrifying and magnificent. You've always been unbreakable. You just buried that truth under so much learned fragility that you forgot who you really are. You're not becoming strong. You're remembering that you always were. You're not building power. You're excavating it from beneath the rubble of other people's opinions. The person you're about to uncover has been waiting beneath your weakness this entire time, patient, powerful, and absolutely disgusted by who you've pretended to be. That person doesn't need anyone's validation because they validate reality itself by existing. That person doesn't seek permission because they are permission. Start digging. Your unbreakable self is waiting to be unearthed, and it's getting impatient. Number 4, the immunity doctrine. Poison yourself back to life. You've been treating criticism like cyanide when you should be microdosing it like medicine. Every harsh word you've avoided, every confrontation you've dodged, every difficult conversation you've escaped, they've all made you weaker. You're dying from comfort while thinking you're protecting yourself. You've become so sanitized that reality itself has become an infection your system can't fight. Epictetus taught, difficulties show a person's character, but you've been avoiding difficulties like they're terminal diseases, not realizing that avoiding them is the disease. You've created a sterile bubble where nothing can hurt you, but nothing can strengthen you either. You're living in an emotional ICU, hooked up to the life support of constant validation, afraid that one harsh word will flatline your fragile ego. The immunity doctrine is vicious in its simplicity. you must poison yourself with small doses of what you fear most. Criticism, rejection, failure, disapproval. You must seek them out, consume them deliberately, let them course through your system until your body learns they're not lethal. They're just information dressed up as danger. Watch how vaccines work. They inject you with weakened versions of the very thing that could kill you, and your body learns to recognize and destroy it. You've been running from emotional vaccines your entire life, leaving yourself immunologically naive to the basic viruses of human interaction. No wonder everything feels like it's killing you. Your system has zero antibodies against reality. You're going to start a practice so counterintuitive, it will feel like self-destruction. You're going to seek rejection daily. Ask for things you know you won't get. Share opinions you know will be unpopular. Put yourself in situations where criticism is guaranteed. Not masochistically, but methodically, like a scientist experimenting with controlled exposure to develop immunity. Every no you receive becomes a vaccination. Every criticism becomes an antibody. Every rejection becomes resistance. You're not just building tolerance, you're building immunity. Soon, what used to destroy you won't even register. The words that once sent you spiraling will bounce off your consciousness like rain off armor you didn't know you were forging. The ancient Stoics called this premeditation of evils, deliberately imagining worst-case scenarios not to manifest them, but to develop immunity to their emotional impact. You visualize rejection until it bores you. You imagine criticism until it becomes background noise. You rehearse failure until it feels like a friend you've known forever. You've spent years being allergic to reality, breaking out in emotional hives every time life doesn't coddle you, having anaphylactic reactions to basic human behavior. It's time to develop immunity through exposure, not avoidance. Time to build antibodies through confrontation, not escape. The side effects of this practice are severe. You'll stop needing anyone's approval. You'll become impossible to manipulate. You'll develop an immune system so robust that other people's opinions become like common cold viruses to someone with superhuman immunity, technically present but utterly powerless. You're about to become emotionally bulletproof through the simple act of getting shot repeatedly with smaller bullets until bullets stop mattering. Number 5. The 0-point protocol. Become nothing to become everything. Here's the nuclear option that will obliterate everything you think you know about strength. You must become nothing. Not small, not humble, not modest. Nothing. Zero. A void where your ego used to live. Because as long as you're something, you can be damaged. As long as you have an identity to protect, you have a weakness to exploit. The final key to becoming unbreakable is recognizing that there's nothing to break. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the known world, wrote, "You are a little soul carrying around a corpse." Not exactly the self-affirmation you expected from the most powerful man alive. He understood what you're about to discover. The less you are, the more powerful you become. The emptier the vessel, the more it can hold. You've been defending a fortress that doesn't exist, protecting an identity that's just a collection of other people's opinions about you. You're not actually you. You're a composite sketch drawn by strangers, edited by critics, colored by rejection. You're defending someone else's creation and calling it yourself. The 0-point protocol demands the complete annihilation of who you think you are. Every label you've given yourself, sensitive, empathetic, deep, damaged, different, they all must die. Not evolve, not transform, die. Because these identities are prisons you've built and decorated so beautifully that you've forgotten they're still cells. When you become nothing, criticism has no target. When you're zero, rejection finds no one home. When you're void, insults pass through empty space. You can't hurt nothing. You can't break zero. You can't destroy what doesn't exist. This isn't depression or nihilism. This is the ultimate freedom that comes from having nothing to defend. Think of water. It has no shape of its own, so it can't be broken. It takes the shape of whatever contains it without losing its essence. It can be frozen, boiled, evaporated, condensed, and through all these transformations, it remains exactly what it is. That's what happens when you embrace being nothing. You become indestructible because there's nothing solid enough to destroy. You've been carrying around a self like its precious cargo, terrified someone might damage it. But that self is just accumulated debris, old wounds, ancient criticisms, fossilized fears. You're a walking museum of everything that ever hurt you, carefully preserving and displaying your damage like it's art. The 0 Point Protocol says, burn the museum down. From today, you practice erasure. When someone says, you're too sensitive, you don't defend or agree. You recognize there's no you to be anything. When criticism comes, it's addressing someone who doesn't exist. When rejection arrives, it's rejecting an illusion. You become the space where things happen, not the thing they happen to. This is the ultimate Stoic secret. You become invincible by becoming invisible. You become unbreakable by having nothing to break. You become powerful by releasing all power. You win by refusing to play. At 0 Point, you're free to be anything because you're attached to nothing. You can feel without becoming the feeling, experience without becoming the experience, live without becoming life's victim. You started this journey bleeding from invisible wounds, didn't you? Collecting evidence of your own inadequacy like trophies in a tournament of self-destruction. Now you stand here, at the edge of transformation, holding 5 keys that unlock a version of you that cannot be broken, cannot be moved, cannot be touched by the temporary madness of human opinion. These aren't just principles, they're nuclear weapons against your own weakness. The permission paradox showed you that you've been signing your own death warrant. The voltage principle revealed you've been everyone's puppet. The archaeological method exposed your buried power. The immunity doctrine taught you to feast on poison. The 0 Point Protocol freed you from the prison of being someone. Seneca's final words before his execution were, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Today marks the end of your life as an emotional refugee. Tomorrow, you wake up as someone who watches the world's chaos like a scientist observing an experiment, interested but unaffected, engaged but unattached. You're not the same person who started this video. That person is dead. Good. They were too weak to survive what's coming anyway. The person you're becoming doesn't need armor because they have nothing to protect, doesn't need weapons because they have no one to fight, doesn't need validation because they barely exist. Go back into your life and watch what happens when you apply these principles. Watch people's confusion when their criticism finds no target. Watch their frustration when their rejection generates no reaction. Watch their amazement when the person they used to destroy with words now observes their attempts with bemused detachment. You are no longer breakable because you've embraced being broken and found freedom in the fragments. You are untouchable because you've become nothing worth touching. You are powerful because you've released all need for power. Like this video if you're ready to disappear into invincibility. Subscribe to continue this transformation. Share with someone still bleeding from words. Comments: I died today. Tomorrow I am unbreakable.